Welcome to this Sahara 4 exercise. In this exercise, we will discuss dynamic layer qualifiers. The dynamic layer qualifiers are different attributes that will indicate the state of the layers over time, linked to the different history of well works and the facilities inside each well. We have three possible values, which are open, squeeze, and isolated. And a key difference between the dynamic layer qualifiers and the static layer qualifiers is that the dynamic layer qualifiers can be calculated. In this case, Sarah will look through the history of the different installation of the wells and also the different well works to check if the layers are open, if they have been squeezed because we did a cement job in that layer and it hasn't been open again later, or isolated, meaning that they are on top of a packer or below a plug. So as you can imagine, these are going to change over time based on the different well work activity that we have in each well. So that's why they are dynamic. They will change over time. So first, we will calculate the dynamic layer qualifiers by going to Tools in our Sahara project, General, and we have an option here that is Calculate Layer Dynamic Qualifiers. We will select all the objects and all the layers and run the calculation. Here we have this little report here that will tell us that we have calculated 976 values. And now the dynamic qualifiers have been calculated. So now let's select the layer 34. We are already here, and let's go to 1987. 87, back at the start of the project. Let's go just 9 here, September 1987. So now we will go to objects, symbols, and as in the previous exercise we activated the static qualifiers, we'll now activate the dynamic qualifiers. And here we can see the different dynamic qualifiers. We have open, isolated, and squeeze. In this case, you can see that, for example, in the case of this well, we have the combination of two different qualifiers. This layer has been open, but it has also been isolated, which means that probably is under a plug or on top of a packer. So now let's look for yeah, let's keep working with this well because it's a good example, and let's open the wellworks window. And here we can see the history of the yeah, here we can see the history of the interventions of this well. So now let's see. Now yes, that's the reason why. Let's open this. So now we see that after this date, initially when the well was first completed, here we can see that all these layers were open, including 34, and then for some reason they decided to just leave everything under a plug in this date, in August 1988, and now everything is under a plug, including well layer 34, everything except for layer 6. So we could check that if we change at this date to the layer number 6, now this one is open, but the rest of them are open and isolated, which means that the perforation has been made, but all these perforations are below a plug. Later we can see that they decided to reopen all of them except for number 6 and 7 because it's on top of a packer that is on top of the pump. And here we can see that if we change the date, let's go to September 1992. Yeah, this is okay because it's after the well work. Here if we look for number 6, we can see now that this one is isolated, is open but also isolated because it's on top of the packer that we review in the wellworks window. So yeah, this one here. Now we see that 6 is in red because the status of the perforation is inactive because it's over a top packer, and also the dynamic qualifier reflects this change, and now both layer 6 and 7 are open because the perforation has been made, but isolated because it's on top of this packer. But 34, as you can see now, is open because the status has switched from being under a plug to being on top of a packer. I mean, which the ones that have been isolated were originally under this plug, but now after this well work here in 1992, the only one that was open here, it has now been closed because it's on top of the packer, and the rest are open. And as you can see, the different dynamic qualifiers reflect this change.